All right, today we're going to decode a super powerful tool that can save you from some serious headaches and costly mistakes, the Better Business Bureau Profile. If you stick with me, you'll learn how to read one of these things like an absolute pro and make way smarter, more confident decisions.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You need to hire someone, maybe it's a plumber, a roofer, whatever, and you're just staring at this huge list of search results. How in the world do you figure out who you can actually trust? Well, that's exactly the problem we're going to solve today.
I want you to think of a company's BBB profile less like a web page and more like its own intelligence dossier. Seriously, it is packed with critical information. You just have to know where to look. And to show you how it's done, we're going to do a little investigation into the profile of a real company, Cat's Eye USA.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with that big letter grade everyone sees first. Then we're going to look under the hood at the company's history, hear directly from actual customers, and finally, I'll give you a super simple checklist you can use on your own. You ready? Let's dive in. First up, the part that always grabs your eye, that big, bold letter grade. But what does it really mean? As you're about to see, there's a much bigger story here than just a single letter on a page. So right away, boom, you see the A+. That's the best grade you can get, which is obviously a fantastic sign. But, and this is a big but, don't stop here. A great grade is one thing, but the real sign of a trustworthy business, it's hiding in the details right next to it. And that is accreditation. This right here is the key. A rating is something the BBB gives a company based on the data they can find. But accreditation, that's totally different. It is a voluntary commitment the business chooses to make to hold themselves to a higher ethical standard. They are actively asking to be held accountable. And that, my friends, is a really powerful signal. And here's another little layer to the story. The date of accreditation tells you how long they've been committed to playing by those higher rules. This company got accredited back in 2020, which shows a recent and ongoing promise to maintain those standards. All right, let's move on to the next section and see what else we can find. Now that we've seen the headline grade, it's time to really dig into the company's history and see what makes them tick. Let's pop the hood. You know, a timeline tells such a powerful story. This company started way back in 1987. That's 38 years in business. That alone tells you something about longevity. But what I find really interesting is that after decades of being in business, they decided to take that extra step to become accredited in 2020. That tells me this is a company that isn't just coasting, they're actively working to prove they deserve your trust. This little table is just packed with intel. We see it's a corporation, not just a sole proprietor. 35 employees. That tells you this is a pretty substantial operation, not just one person in a truck. And you can even see the names of the key people in charge, the ones who are ultimately responsible for the service you're going to get. And whoa, this list of services gives you a really clear picture of what they can do. This company handles a huge range of things, from your everyday pests to more specialized stuff like wildlife removal. Now for you, the consumer, this is a key detail. It suggests they've got some deep expertise and are probably a one-stop shop, which could save you the hassle of calling a bunch of different specialists. Okay, so company data's one thing. That's all great, but what's the real-world experience like? Let's get to what I think is the most important section of all, the customer's voice. This is where you get the human story. I mean, listen to this quote from a real customer, Donna B. She calls them professionals and describes a really specific, positive thing they did during their assessment. This kind of detail, it's priceless. So the crucial takeaway here is that this section is your unfiltered window into what it's actually like to be a customer. You can read all the glowing reviews, sure, but even more important, you can see if there are any complaints and, crucially, how the business responds to them. Their response, or lack of one, tells you absolutely everything you need to know about their commitment to customer service. Okay, we've decoded the rating, we've dug through the company dossier, and we've listened to the customer. Now let's pull all of this together into a simple, actionable tool that you can use every single time you're thinking about hiring someone. And here it is, your 4-step check. It's so easy. First, check the rating and the accreditation. Second, review their history to see if they're stable. Third, just scan their services and details to get a feel for their size and scope. And fourth, and this is a big one, always read the customer reviews to get the real story. That's it. It's that simple. So there you have it. You are now officially equipped to look past all the marketing fluff and decode the real story behind any business. The next time you need to hire a pro, you won't be guessing anymore. So the only question left is, what story will the next dossier you check tell you?